No. So Art, I've got a single chart. Should have most of these.
Yeah,
Not the detail, but I just want to, we'll go through each one.
we lost 3 weeks, 5. We won't go.
I hear you. Yeah, not only that, but I gave up on watching the news.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do we have a motion to do that? Diane first?
Second.
Second? Unanimous? Okay, great. The agenda is shown here. What we've done is we'll go through and we'll approve the minutes. We'll have a safety contact that I think Art's going to help us with today. We'll go through this town updates. Carl, Mark, and Julie, any feedback you have on the Bike to Ocean event? We'll have an update of the task teams and planning for upcoming events, public participation, and then adjournment. So do we have and today will really be a sort of a action-oriented meeting where we're really focused on the events for the upcoming summer. Since we've had, the last few meetings have been, we've had guest speakers and we've been talking about, this is really sort of getting into the nuts and bolts a little bit. So that'll be sort of the flow. So do we have a motion to, thank you, Dan. Second. Any comments, upgrades? I did add, I did add one thing that's highlighted on the chart. There's the AARP walkability study that the Bethany Beach Landowners Association is sort of helping coordinate, but we have a couple members of our team, I don't know, 3 or 4, I guess, that are going to participate on it. So I just wanted to put that up there, too, as something we can chat about. I think that's coming up on Monday, right, if I recall? Okay.
Yeah, the 26th.
So that's a new item to the agenda that's not on the one that went to the public. So do we have a motion, or do we have a vote to accept the agenda as is? Okay, looks like it's unanimous. Great, thank you. We'll look at the minutes from the April meeting, and you all should have a copy of this. Teresa, I apologize.
I read them. It's
You
fine.
read it? Raylene, thank you very much for getting this, sharing it with us. We had a lot of good conversation, discussion, so took excellent notes and captured all that. I'm not going to go through each part. You can see that. But we had reports from the town. We had a guest speaker from
T2.
T2, Matt 2, I'm trying to blank. Carter, who was, as you know, had great energy and passion, and I think we all learned a little bit about the evolving process about speed and how it's determined, and particularly how other factors come into play, and sort of the weighting of that. So that was really helpful, and he's a resource that I'm sure we're going to rely on later. In fact, I took him out to lunch afterwards, and you know how much energy he had during our meeting? It carried right into lunch. So at some point, I had to start talking so he could eat, so we could get done. But that was a compliment to Matu for being there. And then we had we went through the traffic group report that we all had a copy of. We made some upgrades to that. And then planning for the 2025 season. That's really what we're going to spend a good amount of time today on. So do we have any upgrades to the agenda? Mark, please.
Yeah, just one small thing. I think it says I was going to do a report on the April workshop. It should be the March workshop.
Right. Okay.
But otherwise, outstanding minutes as always, Raylene. Thank you.
Yep. And on that topic, Mark and Art did a great job of sharing at our May, I think whatever town council meeting came after that. The next day, I guess it was. Mm-hmm. And a fantastic job of sharing the team's efforts on that. So Art and Mark, thanks again.
It just listed me as being here last meeting, and I was not.
Okay.
Well, Carl, you were here in spirit and energy and passion, so we're... No, I know you were helping out with your wife, so, yep. So great. So do we have a motion, or do we, a vote to accept the upgraded
I so
minutes?
move.
Thank you.
I second.
Second?
All in favor?
All in favor? Great, thank you. So next will be our safety contact, and Art, if you'd like to do that?
Sure, be happy to, Mickey. Good morning, everybody. Members of the committee here, I sent everybody out a copy of, or a link to an article from the League of American Bicyclists. It was mentioning that May is National Bike Month. And there was some information in there about exactly which days and weeks were specified as, particularly important. The Bike to Work Week was May 12th through 18th, and the Bike to Work Day was May 16th. And so again, they're just promoting the fact that, they're supporting biking and safe biking. And I came across another article subsequently, which I will send to you this afternoon, along with the updated plan that came from People for Bikes. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to read a few excerpts from that.
Please, Art.
The People for Bikes released their 2024 U.S. Bicycling Participation Study, offering new insights into bicycling trends across the country. This biennial report reveals that 112 million Americans, which is 35% of those ages 3 and older, rode a bike at least once in 2024. And this marks the highest participation rate since the study began in 2014, underscoring the increased interest in bicycling propelled by the COVID-19 pandemic. In even better news, youth participation, those ages 3 to 17 in bicycling, increased from 49% to 56% since the last study, reversing a steady decline in youth ridership since 2018. As the bike industry continues to navigate sales turbulence and economic headwinds, this data provides key information to guide industry investments, advocacy efforts, and infrastructure developments. The significant increase in youth participation signals a potential new generation of lifelong riders, but with 53% of the riders worried about being hit by a car, we must take action to ensure people today and tomorrow feel safe and comfortable riding a bike, which again, kind of buttresses what we're trying to do. I'm not going to read everything on here, but anyway, some of the notable findings from this study is 50% of the riders say they were familiar with the bike lanes, paths, and trails in their area, which is good. Ridership increased 9% for youth 3 to 9 and 15% for youth 10 to 17. And traveling to or from social or recreational activities became the #1 reason for transportation, bumping, errands, and shopping. So again, you can see that there's clearly a increase in interest in bicycling and more people doing it, but there's also, again, concerns about safety. And so I think, again, this buttresses exactly what we're doing here, and again, I think that's kind of reflected in this area, as you do see more people out biking and walking, and in turn, our emphasis to try and make sure that when they're participating in these activities, that they're having a safe and enjoyable time, I think is great. So again, I think this, is a wonderful thing that the members of this team have been involved with. Great. So anyway, I will share the entire article with you this afternoon.
Great, thank you, Art, appreciate it.
Sure.
Any comments from the committee? That you gave us a lot of information, but the 50% of riders being familiar with local rules, so that's a good story, right? The bad story is 50% aren't, and the other side is even the 50% that are doesn't mean they're following them, right? So to your point, that's the opportunity we're trying to address. So this, Art, this might be something we want to just dovetail into as we're into next year as well. Sort of, I didn't realize it was National Bike Month, and you pointed that out to us. So maybe we can be ahead of it and sort of tie it into some of the stuff we're doing as well. So
okay, that'd be great.
Makes sense, and
Yeah,
it
sure.
sounds like some really good stuff there. So excellent. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
So let's move into the next part of our session, and I asked Chief Foley if you would sort of bat lead off for us here. We have a sort of a special thing happening today.
Sure.
So I have some good news. First is that there's no accidents to report that involve bicycles or pedestrians. The unfortunate thing is it's coming. This weekend, we're going to have an influx in accidents with the same old out here on Coastal Highway with cars rear-ending other cars. Hopefully that will be it. Next is very happy to report the Office of Highway Safety has reinstated Bethany Beach with our grants. As we're aware, it was never really openly mentioned, but due to the actions of the prior chief and captain, we were suspended from any state and federal funding involving Office of Highway Safety, which hurt the officers, and it also hurt the town. So many towns throughout the state of Delaware are getting specific funding for click it or ticket, DUIs, speed, pedestrian safety, and we were not getting that for the past year for obvious reasons. We incorporated that into our patrols, but the fortunate thing here, when the Office of Highway Safety pays us, we are designated out there on the highway for an X amount of time, strictly enforcing whatever mobilization, which I'll talk about here. So we are back in good standing with Office of Highway Safety. We were suspended for obvious reasons due to the prior administration. We have already participated in distracted driving campaigns. Tickets were issued. We have 24 up-and-coming pedestrian safety education campaigns, which I'll be doing the first one tomorrow. DUI mobilizations, we have made arrests with that campaign. Speed enforcement, we have cited tickets during those campaigns. Click it or ticket, and the last, but certainly not least, is cell phone campaigns. It's a total of 45 4-hour jobs. I get some math here. 45 4-hour jobs. 3 of them, in addition, were 6-hour DUI campaign. Myself, the deputy chief, and another officer were out here from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Easter weekend, stopping people, enforcing DUIs. Unfortunately, no arrests were made by us, but we did write a lot of tickets. That is a total of 180 hours that we are out there specifically, in addition to our patrol, enforcing all the state laws, especially those geared towards pedestrian and bike safety. It's just under 200 hours of strict enforcement or education. I want to thank the Office of Highway Safety for reinstating us. We are hitting the ground running. We are out there writing tickets when needed and enforcing and educating when also needed. So with these 200 hours of enforcement, half of them are geared towards education involving pedestrian and bicycle safety, and half of them are geared towards enforcement and arrest for DUIs, cell phones, speeding, distracted driving, or whatever it may be. So I've always mentioned it, but now there's statistics. So Bethany Beach Police Department, half of our mission is education, and half of our mission is enforcement and arrest. So I mentioned it, and now you can actually see it come to light with our campaigns and mobilizations. I also want to credit the Bethany Beach Police Department staff. They work 4 hours, 4 days on, 4 days off, either 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. They do this on top of their shifts, whether it be Memorial Day weekend, whether it's Easter weekend. It's giving up time with their family to come back to Bethany and enforce these laws to protect our citizens, which we have not had for the past year. So I want to give them some credit too. The next item on my list, the crosswalk, which was mentioned a couple times prior by me, 26 in Treetop Lane by the Phoebos, has been put on halt. That has been referred back to the engineer. It was supposed to begin before Memorial Day weekend. As you can see, there's no construction out there. They're still figuring where to put it and implement it. It's referred back to the engineer. That's why you don't see any holes in the ground and crosswalks out there. Last, and certainly not least, I would really like to do this and add body cam and footage so you can see the real life aspect, but PFC Ryan is here, standing in the back. She's very, very uncomfortable back there, I could tell. She wants to get out of here as fast as she can. I just want to, I've mentioned it maybe 4 or 5 times, especially in the summertime, but the officers, unfortunately, are not here. They're on night works. They're on their days off. If I could take this body-worn cam footage or dash cam footage and play it, it would be better than me talking about it. I just want to give her some kudos. May 15th, 10:30 p.m. I don't think there was many cars on the road. I don't think there was many people out there. Molly was patrolling. She came out of Turtle Walk Development and was going eastbound on Route 26, a little bit west of Bethany West. She noticed one bicycle coming in the westbound lane, riding with the flow of traffic with adequate bike lights, and then two coming westbound in the eastbound lane with no lighting. And it happens a lot, especially at nighttime. People just take their fastest route from point A to point B, and they don't really consider the laws. She put her lights on. She got out and made contact with two foreign students. Do you know where they were from? I think you asked them. I just didn't. No. They indicated that they just arrived here. They're working at Royal Farms in Ocean View. And they did not have bike lights, and they were educated on the rules of the road. Again, I really wish I could incorporate the body cam footage into this so you could just see what my officers are out there doing when everybody's sleeping. I want to make sure that they get credit for it. This is the best way to do it. Molly, we all see what you're doing. We appreciate it. We thank you. You can leave now. I know you don't like being in here. Thank you. And then the other stuff we'll touch upon with the future events. I'm Art.
Right.
That's it.
Heck, I wanted to thank her too, but she,
She wants to get out of here as fast as she
Back
can.
to work.
Yeah.
Chairman, if I might, just we all
Absolutely.
volunteer here to do everything we can to help our wonderful police department. Our chief, Mark, and I were just talking. If you need trouble with that crosswalk, he's got a can of paint, I got two brushes. We'll just go out and show them where to put it.
I got some reflective vests too, so we can make it work.
thanks, Chief. That's really excellent, all the, having that funding restored. Would it make any help? I'm sorry.
If you do want to incorporate body cam footage for display, we can do that. Just
Yeah,
work with you, and we can download it and get a clip of it and let me know. We can display it if you want to.
yeah. This was more of like the people that were stopped. I didn't want to, like, if it's seen or aired, I didn't want to humiliate them or throw them under the bus, and, you know, I don't want to go down that route, but I will certainly do that down the future. I'll give you ample
We
time
can
notice, too.
display it, but we don't have to broadcast it as well.
Yeah.
So we have
right.
options.
Okay.
Can you blur out faces?
I'm not that good.
All right. We'll figure it out.
But Gina, the great thing about that, and I know we talked about this probably a year ago, right, when we were talking about the body cams and everything, and I've seen those used in different settings, and they tend to be an I gotcha kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? In whatever industry, right, from a safety perspective, whatever. But as we were kicking it around, the idea there's great opportunities to use it from a positive reinforcement and a training. What's excellence look like, right? And that's a perfect example of that. So, one, it's great to recognize Officer Ryan, and but also hopefully it's a thing we can use within our own team, your team, to help just reinforce what that kind of impact has. So, thank you, Chief, as always. Appreciate it. Only comment: is there any value you think if somebody from our team just sends a note to the Office of Highway Safety thanking them, or is that not needed? That too, if you think it would be of any value.
It's not needed. We went to meetings with them. We've had audits and stuff completed by them. I think they're aware of the support of the town of Bethany Beach. It's not certainly not going to help, but we could talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I'd like to make one comment of Chief Foley. The PAC meeting and training for seasonal officers, Rosemary Hardiman and myself went on Monday and Wednesday, and I can't say enough how impressed I was with those seasonal officers and your staff interacting with them, the behavioral science behind it, the hands-on. We were not pepper sprayed though, but it was just I wish every resident could see exactly how prepared these seasonal workers are, officers are, and how great our staff is, our police department. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Rosemary.
I just wanted to add to what Diane said. They did an incredible job, the whole bunch, and the seasonals were outstanding. And the only thing that saved Diane and me from being pepper sprayed was that the can said, "Do not use on the elderly."
We pointed that out.
one other comment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mickey, could I ask, while we're talking about just giving recognition to people, back when we had our workshop back in March, there was a gentleman here from DENREC that was very, wonderful in terms of participation, but I asked him specifically to help with one thing, which was to fix the parking lot area up by the Hickman Road trailhead to Fresh Pond. And it has been done, and it's been done very well. So can I send him, or would it be appropriate for me to send him a thank you note?
Yeah.
Not only for his participation in the workshop, but for following up so quickly. They did a really nice job with it.
That was Robert, I think his last name. He spoke at our workshop. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Same gentleman we're reaching out to. Yeah.
John Fiore?
Yeah, I just like to give people credit when they do a nice job.
absolutely.
So I'd be happy to send a note and copy everybody if you want.
Yeah, that's
That would
perfect.
be great.
Could somebody just maybe send me his email address?
Sure.
And I'll take care of putting something together and sending it to him.
Yeah, great, Art. Thank you.
When we do the bike safety checkpoints, we provide lights to a lot of the people, and it's on Pennsylvania Avenue. They generally tend to be the local people renting. I wonder, having been over at ABC, which is at Mariners, where they're passing out the bikes, and they have over 400, and they passed out some, obviously, the first wave. If we could get bike lights from the state, which they provide when we do the bike safety checkpoints, they'll put them on. And we may not be able to get 400, but if we could get 200, at least we've provided something to half the population of, trying to ride safely, especially at night.
Okay.
Yep.
Carl, be honest with you, I was writing notes about what I need to follow up with Art. So that's an opportunity for us to.
For John, Fiore, that
Working
we'll
with-
talk about, and he's the coordinator with the state.
All right.
That Dan and I'll be probably liaisoning with.
Gotcha. Okay, fantastic. Super. Thank you. So you've got that, and you're going to run with it then in terms of, we just need to look into getting some stash of lights for you, okay? Okay. Thank you. Go ahead,
And
Mark, please.
just a question, Chief. Before Dan and I go out and paint the crosswalk, as we were saying, do you have any idea when it might get done?
It should be done in the fall.
Great. For those who live in Tingle's Addition and walk to Bethany West a lot, that would be fantastic.
Great, thank you. One other thing, Chief, just as a comment, and you highlighted it a couple times, is just how, because sometimes we've had a number of comments from the public and others say, well, you got to enforce things, you got to make people, and I love the balance that you portrayed. One is sort of half the time is helping with education, mindset, and the other half is sort of being the rule enforcer.
Yeah.
And having both of those is really valuable, and so thank you for highlighting that, and, right.
Thank you.
Super, thank you. Any other comments for Chief Foley? I think we don't have a report from the town today. I think a couple folks are actually up in Rehoboth celebrating their new lifeguard
yes, yes.
facility, so I don't think there's anything else to report around that. And Julie, from your perspective, as things really start to ramp up, and
Yes, here we go. And we're watching the beach as we speak.
Won't be around much.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we're full speed ahead now for events regarding this committee specifically. Teresa was nice enough to pick up the shirts for us. We did a new order of Wave T-shirts, so we should be set for the season. We have 500 more that came in. Reordered some more stickers, and we're set on brochures. So our first event is this weekend. Sunday is the meet and greet, the first responder, and that's where we're going to have a table for Wave set up. So any help that we can get in putting together some bags for that table with the shirts and all the giveaways would be wonderful.
Just tell me when you need me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that. Yeah, because as long as it's together by Sunday. Yeah.
So it's Sunday,
tomorrow
not
maybe.
Saturday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday is the meet and
We have
greet.
Saturday on.
Oh, it's 5:30 to 7 on
No,
Sunday.
5:37, but on the 25th.
Yep.
It's on the
Okay.
25th.
Change that.
And then just to confirm, we are not having a booth at Craft Show,
Correct.
right? Okay, so we'll pull off the master vendor list. And then the next thing for 4th of July, if we could get some bike lights for that table as well, that would be wonderful, just like last year. And we'll be set up right next to the bike table, where they hand out things for them to decorate their bike kits and things. So yeah, we're good to go. And we're working on some video clips for just reminders about bike safety and pedestrian safety.
Awesome,
We'll be throwing in with our social media mix.
great.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
So just a comment about the T-shirts and stickers and brochures. I'd like us to sort of, and we've been doing that, but I'd like us to really try to stick to, and that's why the craft show, or craft, the ones coming up, the first one in June, is really hard because there's so many people, right?
Yeah.
And people are just coming and almost want to just grab something and go. I would much rather us, and that's one of the reasons why we're not going to participate in that. I'd much rather us focus on where we can actually have discussion and conversation with people and then give them something as part of that. I'm not saying you have to have an in-depth conversation, but it's not just here's your T-shirt, walk away, right? And so I think, as we have these events during the summer, the more conversation we have, the more discussion we have, the more, whatever we talk about, can you share this with your family, your grandkids and the like,
Right.
is what we want to be giving, focusing on. So, great. And thank you, Julie, for coordinating all that, and Teresa for picking on those up. It sounds like we're well stocked, so. And we have, thanks to Mr. Dan, hats.
Hats.
So we are really,
In uniform.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from the report from the, okay, let's move into the, sort of the next segment, and that's any feedback from the Ocean to Bay bike. That was Carl and Mark, and Julie did a great job of getting everything assembled for everybody, even though she wasn't there for that. Feedback?
We didn't get the participation I had hoped for at the table.
Yeah.
They tended to be focused on picking up the packets and registering if they weren't already. But one of the things I did notice is that people, obviously people from out of state and even in-state, have no idea what the Delaware bike laws are. They really just have no, and that's something I think, I'm working on a little bit with a brochure for bike safety, and we'll focus on that. But the bike ride itself went very well. I mean, the weather cleared, and that was a 10-mile ride, okay?
It was great.
It was really, really well run, and I think it worked really well on that Saturday.
Awesome. Mark, please.
Yeah, if I could just add,
Thank you, Carl.
and apologies, the bad folding of the banner, Julie, was all my fault. Art tried to get me to do it right, but anyway, I think so. The previous year, we had some very good conversations, and this year it was not as effective. So. That's a small sample size, sort of in binary math, 1 and 0. So I guess it's 50%. But we might want to think about how we approach it next year. And I think Carl's point is very good. Maybe talking about what the specific Delaware
Yep.
rules are
Yep.
would be helpful.
Yep. So Mark, to build off that, and that's
That's good.
so maybe what we could do, right, is again, this is why the feedback's so important. There's two things. One is, if we do this again, I'd like to get a tent for you, or a cover for you guys, because it was pretty, when the sun came out, right, it was, so if we could get a little bit of coverage, or you guys were, but maybe we could actually create a couple posters or something, that we can refer to, or maybe we have, that can be part of that conversation too. It's almost like as you walk through, you can talk about it, people can see it themselves, we can hand things out. You know,
Be very helpful.
so let's put that on our bucket list for next year of how we can, because it's all about having a really quality interactions. To me, it doesn't matter about the quantity. It's if we can get 15 really good conversations with folks, that's a huge win, because they're going to take it to 15 or 20 people, and then the message spreads. But that specific need around Delaware, it would be helpful, you know.
And Carl, did you say you're putting together a brochure about that? Because the state already has a bike law brochure that we hand out as part of the welcome packet at the meet and greet on Sundays. Yeah, so I'd be happy to share that with you if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's changed since we've been using it every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those, it's almost like we create a little bit of a storyboard kind of thing, right? Where just very, very visible, big, you know, that you put up on easels kind of thing, and people can walk, yeah, they almost have to walk by, they can see it. That can promote the kind of interaction that I think you'll both highlight. You
You
like,
can
so.
use it for multiple events. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah, wouldn't be a one and done, it would be, but great. So if I can ask Mark and Carl, just keeping that on your radar for next year, and we'll certainly be trying to think about how we can spice it up and promote that kind of discussion. Okay, great. But thank you all for being there. That was, I know we all had a lot of conflicts at that time, so the fact that you guys were there for a couple hours was really awesome, so thank you both. Okay, let's do some, we'll move into the task team updates. These were two new ones that we actually created in our conversation last month around, we've heard, and this is really coming off our conversation with our community neighbors around, everyone's struggling with scooters and e-bikes, right? It's a challenge, they're new, they're getting faster, they're quiet, all that kind of stuff. And Dan really sort of challenged us to sort of think out of the box and what we can do around that. So Dan, let's talk about that one first, e-bikes and scooters. Thank you, Dan.
Knowing that you want to keep this meeting short, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to keep this short. We're really at the front end of doing a lot of work and research on all of this. I will tell you that I tried to get on that People's Biking website that Art took, but they were always busy when I tried to do that, so I figured it was Art who was taking all the time to do all of that. But there are remarkable number of resources available. This is not one of those instances where we have to recreate the wheel. There's a lot of good stuff. And one of the highlights of my search was the city of Jupiter, Florida, of all places. Almost, in some ways, it's kind of like Bethany Beach. It's close to the water, and there are a lot of people who are there, a lot of resort areas and stuff. And they have a brochure, Julie, that's spectacular. And it's all about what you do in Florida and what the laws are in Florida. And these are for e-bikes, okay? These are, I mean, I'm sure they apply to everybody, but they're for e-bikes. The other thing that I have discovered, and I haven't had a chance to talk to our honorable police chief about all of this, but there are some very interesting things that police departments around the country are doing. Jupiter is one of them. Large cities like New York and Los Angeles have teams of officers on e-bikes. But the training, the policies, it's all there. The equipment and the costs, there are significant costs. One of the things that really appealed to me about that particular activity was that there was also, as the chief was talking about, half of what we do here in our police department is to educate, and the other half is enforcement. There was that theme in a lot of the material I was reading, and I know there was some sensitivity to having a squad car pull a kid on a scooter over and how that might look to the community. There's a whole other approach to this, where if you've got an officer on an e-bike, right, and he or she is stopping someone who's not using the bike path properly, either with a bike or a scooter, it's less intimidating, and it actually provides for community engagement, which I thought was really interesting. A lot more work to do in this area, Mickey, but a good start on it. And talking about brochures, I think one of the ideas that I read about was the idea of making sure that everybody who came into town and rode an e-bike got one of the e-bike brochures, whether it was an officer who was stopping and talking to them about it, whether it was when they were renting a bicycle, at a store that did this sort of stuff. There were lots of opportunities to provide that information and engage in a conversation. And having someone in a uniform do that, to me, has always struck me as being much more important and effective. So lots of ideas along those lines. And some of the rules that applied, or approaches that applied to e-bikes, were also useful for scooters. And you couldn't be any more right. I mean, take a look. Google bike laws in the states, and we only have 50 states. There are 50,000 sites to see. I mean, it's just amazing how complicated and difficult all of this is. But there's a lot of good stuff there, and I promise we'll keep working on this, and certainly working with the chief and the good people in the department to get their feedback and input. But that brochure, Julie, is there. I mean, we can steal it. I'm sure they didn't put it up there with any fear about other people using it. And I am going to make contact with the Jupiter Police Department to see if we can engage someone as a resource for us on all of this.
Awesome. Great.
Okay?
Yeah, I volunteered to help Dan on this when he volunteered to do it, and you can tell who did all the work in the last month. But
It was all at your direction,
it was-
Mr. Chairman.
It was
You were
great.
telling me what to do.
Really, you could just sort of sense the information, and he shared a couple things with me. I'm like, Dan, you got it, brother. Let's go. So, but Dan, is it appropriate? We'll put it on the agenda for our June meeting. Maybe we can show some charts or to be a little bit more graphic with some of that, or even a video or whatever, just to help us. And would that make sense?
Yeah.
And I promise I will actually step up to my role as a team member on this task team.
You just did. I have my assignment now, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, right. Nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, Dan.
You bet.
Any feedback, questions from the team?
It's interesting.
I got one. Dan, we do that to an aspect, like the police department, when we go out there and educate. Diane came with me. We simply kind of stop people in their tracks on foot for our pedestrian safety campaigns. We have done it for the extent of mopeds. That was quite challenging. Would have one officer. So I don't want to send anybody out on bicycles out on 26, because that's where most of our infractions occur. It's not safe for them to be out there on a bike. We had a little campaign that we set up. When a moped came into town over the bridge from Ocean View, we had an officer there, radio to an officer in the area of Wawa that had a vest on, and kind of flagged him down and just said, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. The officer you just passed noticed that. We're going to address the issues. We didn't hand out any literature because there's really no way to put it on a moped, but we did go over. We actually made a social media post. And again, social media posts are great because it shows that we're trying. There's a lot of effort. And the people in the comments, those are the best people on social media, because the people in the comments will tell you exactly what the problem is, and they will tell you how to do your job, which is crazy. But we posted a picture of an officer with a vest on enforcing, a moped law. We told them, hey, listen, you didn't do anything wrong. You're actually doing everything right. We're going to reward your behavior, not with an ice cream cone, but we're going to put it on social media and give you some fame. How about that? And they were all about it. They were local. They lived in Bethany Meadows. And then the comments were just so derogatory towards the moped population, kind of backfired. So we did do that campaign. We do it for pedestrians. We're doing 24 of them this upcoming few weeks. But for e-bikes specifically, somewhat challenging because you have to have something more powerful than an e-bike to track them down. I am on that. Jupiter, I like to see that because we could probably piggyback off that.
If I may, and going there in February for a couple of weeks to study what they do on the streets, I think the chief should be sent there, and that should be a recommendation of this committee.
Absolutely.
I'll be with you.
There was a reason I signed up for this team. I knew it.
You're going to make the travel arrangements.
The whole committee will travel.
Yeah.
Chief, can I just, as somebody who absolutely does nothing on social media, and I'm going to try to do that the rest of my life, meaning none, can you, if you find some good nuggets that you want to share, that those learnings, right? When you say people will tell you exactly, because that's the positive value of social media, right? Not all the other stuff. But when you have examples of that, please. That would be sort of a fun way of, it actually gives people a little bit of pat on the back. I guess they like that stuff. But the learning that we had from it, or that you picked up from it, would be helpful, It just helps
So the last meeting here in April, I missed. Molly and I were actually in Ocean City for an FBI public information officer class, and the last day, excuse me, was geared towards social media and how to use it correctly. So we post pictures of the bad guys, and we post pictures of the wanted people, and we post stuff about what we did and how we enforce the laws. It's really important to show the humanistic aspect of the Bethany Beach Police Department.
Yep.
I mentioned, and it was a joke for a few years, one of our biggest viral social media posts was a lost puppy that we had with an officer. I think it was maybe August of last year. Periodically, the administration, through policy, we review numerous body-worn camera footage, and this was an officer. I cried. It was a Monday morning. I was very emotional. I cried watching the body. He pulled somebody over for speeding, noticed a 5-year-old daughter sleeping in the back seat with no seatbelt, no car seat. He kind of paused the infraction, went back. He had a seasonal, go back to the police department. And the same thing like what we just discovered with Molly. We notice more, 99% of officers going beyond the scope of their stop to be humans rather than to be robots. And we made this social media post of the officer, getting out at 2 in.the morning with the child and the mom and installing a car seat. And I took little snippets. We were very careful because there was a juvenile involved, but we took little snippets of the body-worn camera footage, and I threw it on our social media, and it went viral, and I mean viral. WBOC was calling and wanted to do an interview with him. It got to the point, I think it reached the Baltimore and DC news networks. And this was maybe like September and October. So it puts us on the grid a little bit. So that is my MO when it comes to social media. We want to put information out there, but we also want to show empathy and humanistic approach of our police department. So we're going to be doing that a lot, especially me and Molly going forward.
So one other comment, I know Chief Foley's been gracious enough, he's actually going to be one of our guest speakers at the Bethany West community meeting on Saturday. And we had a request of the board members to sort of what would you like input, specifically from Bethany West. And that's all great. But as you saw in my note to you, let's talk up the bigger view too. Yeah. Because all that positivity, your approach is, I think, what all our community members need to hear more of. So please, and thank you for being there for that. I know that's okay. So our next testing we've started was improved and connected, interconnected pathways. And again, this was Dan and Carl, I think. Even though Carl wasn't here, he got volunteered for it. And
I'm guilty of that, Carl, my friend, but I'm not sorry for it. And I'm glad you were so gracious to it. Again, we weren't too good about keeping our presentation short last time, so this will be very brief. Carl and I have talked. Mickey, with your assistance, we've been trying to schedule a meeting with folks. Is it DelDOT or is it?
I think it's DenRec.
DenRec.
Actually, the same gentleman. I think that
it is the same guy. And just to start the conversation to see what it is that we have an issue like we have with all the paths to Camp Barnes. How we can make a difference, how we can make a change, and what sort of process they like to see happen, who we should be working with. It's just an information kind of conversation with him, and hopefully the three of us will be on the call. Carl, I don't know if you want to add, but he was out of the room, so I volunteered him, so that's why the three of us.
Well, I think the pathway between Muddy Neck and it's going out to Plantations, I think, here in Parker House Road. It doesn't go far enough, obviously, and there are other ways to get through there, especially with the curves and things like that. It really needs to be extended. The other alternative might be Central Avenue, which is good, out to Beaver Dam, and then it starts to narrow. But once you can go from Beaver Dam out to, it's called Bayard Road, there at Pepper's Corner. If you can, and it's less traveled, a little bit less traveled. If we could do that, Bayard Road is fine. And then you've got a very short stint to get over to the road that goes out to Camp Barnes. Through the SO area and all, it's great. But,
right.
Once you get past that, of course, not a lot of cars, but there's nothing.
So one of the key takeaways from, and I think that's why you all really went down the path from Robert from Denrick was, when he was here, was, he was really almost asked, because that came up, and he was talking about the interconnectedness of, because we're not just talking about Bethany, we're talking about the whole, beach area, really, and coastal communities, that he actually needed a little bit of help and support to sort of like get the
funding.
wheels spinning a little
Yeah.
bit. And so that's what you all jumped on. So this is really, I think, a great opportunity, which I think will leverage really well for us to reach out, because it's not just us, it's going to be the Ocean Views, the Millville, all those people.
Frankfurt, all of those.
All that to sort of come together, and that's, but if we can take the lead to get those conversations started, then that's awesome. So again, Carl and Dan, thank you for your leadership. That's awesome. Sure. So, okay, the next thing on the agenda is the walkability study that's going to take place, I think, on Monday, that the BBLA has sort of reached out, and there's some funding they got from AARP. So anyone, I know we have a couple members of our team on that, right? Teresa? Mark? Diane?
And Art.
Art? Okay.
So this is the first step.
Yeah.
And so there's we have a checklist, and we walk around and we make recommendations, and then there's a consultant involved. So it's very early. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it.
Yeah. Well, again, I think you all who are on our team who are participating in that, I think that'll be a great, the more involvement, engagement, learning we can get is what it's all about. So, fantastic. Thank you all in advance, and I'll be interested in hear what you
We'll
all
let you
come up
know what works out. Again, we're meeting at the bandstand, I guess,
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock, and they say it's going to take about an hour, and we're just going to walk down Garfield out 26, and, just down out 26.
Yeah.
And then kind of loop back, and we've apparently got forms we fill out to note what we've seen, et cetera, et cetera. So this is, again, the first stage on this, but we'll let everybody know what we've been able to accomplish.
Every one of these is an opportunity to learn and get a little different perspective on things, and so, I'm sure we'll be able to bring some things back to help us, as well as partner with, BBLA's leadership on that. So that's great, fantastic. Okay, let's jump into the planning for the 2025 season. You all have, actually, this is an older version of the spreadsheet that
Just got here.
Art has been keeping up for us. He actually gave you an updated version of that.
Does everybody have a copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, this is just as of this morning, make whatever adjustments we need to make.
Yeah. So what I suggest we do is, and Art, if you can sort of be our scribe to update that, and let's work through what I tried to capture here. Here are the events that we have. Now, if I miss something, no worries, we'll add it in. But here are the things that sort of what I thought was chronological order coming right off your spreadsheet. And what I want to do is just walk through here to see not so much detailed planning, but what else do we need to do to pull this off well? So obviously for the first one, Poseidon, we need to change the date from Saturday to Sunday, right?
And we also need a couple more volunteers, because you are it right now.
Right.
Do you want us
Diane
to
and
say
Dan.
right now if we can do it?
That would be helpful since
Yes,
it's
I can,
this weekend.
I could be there 5:30.
Art, the times are the same, though?
Pardon?
No, it'll still be 5:30 to 7 on...
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I can be available if you need me.
Yeah.
So we have 4 people now.
Right.
So we're sending an officer up there too.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you do.
before this committee was established, the police department, right, would be up there and
Yeah.
just interact with the public and pass out hats and interact with the kids. I think you guys made a recommendation last year, and I'll leave it up to you. We kind of showed the police car and then left the parents with you guys.
Yeah.
That benefited
Yeah.
the committee,
Yeah.
right?
It was cool.
Yeah.
So,
And they came because of the hats.
Oh,
right,
I
yeah.
love the
They
hats.
came to our table because the
Yeah.
hats were near us.
So the officer that's going to be up there, I can have him, we'll just do a tag team at a table. Want to do that? And then he can just do stuff with the kids and interact with kids, the hats, the badges, the police car, and then you guys can talk to the parents about whatever it is.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that.
Awesome. See, and that was an example of, I think, one that really worked well in terms of those conversations. It wasn't
Yeah.
an overwhelming crowd. You could,
Right.
and then the kids loved the handouts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And would it be helpful, I think what Julie said before, I'd be glad if you wanted I could maybe tomorrow help put together some
Bags.
bags.
So what time tomorrow?
That's important that we do that since it's coming right up on us.
Yeah, like we have to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, I'm available to help if you need. Just pick a
11?
time.
I'll try.
11?
11?
11? How about 11 o'clock? We'll meet here. Okay, cool. And whoever can be here, that's okay. No, I think we got plenty. We got 3 or 4. And that way we'll have some stuff pre-assembled and we'll be ready for the event. That's great. Fantastic. The walkability audit we just talked about. The Seaside Craft Show we're not going to do, right, in terms of formal participation. So let's jump into this is the student safety seminar that we're going to have at St. Anne's.
Yes.
Wait, could I, if I
Yeah.
could, just jump back? Are we asked to participate and help with the Mariners Bethel Bike Distribution Days? Last year we were. I don't know if we've gotten any indication that they'd like us or not. But again, last year, my experience, and Carl, I think, was out there and had a good experience. But again, what I did is I went out and observed, which was very useful to me. Talked with some students along the way. They asked me to attend a couple training programs they had in the morning. I went along. They asked me to make some comments. I did to the group. I handed out T-shirts and brochures. So I don't know. To me, it was a productive day because the training sessions were very small. So again, you had maybe, 15 people in the room. I don't know if you had a different experience, but I got a chance to give them some thoughts and then, distribute stuff and talk to people. So I
They've
don't know if
done
that
it
opportunities
just
are or
like
not.
last year. However, the people I've observed, it's about half and half. 50% wear the helmets and do all the stuff right, and the other 50% no helmets, and they're just, I don't know if they've been here before and they think, well, I got it, nothing ever happens, that sort of thing. But they're running the program. I don't know that we don't necessarily need to participate, but they're still doing the safety program and making sure everybody knows what the rules are and what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. So Art,
Whatever you'd like to do. I'm just, again, throwing it out there because we were invited last year.
yeah. So Art, I got to apologize. I think I dropped the ball on that because I think we talked about this last time, and I was thinking I was going to send a note to Mike to ask him about the dates, and I didn't do that. So I will do that this afternoon and see if there's any times that are available, and I'll get back to everybody. Is that fair enough?
Oh, sure. I'm just
I don't
throwing
know
it out there.
I don't know where they are in their cycle. When you all, I didn't get a chance to go last year, but to their.
Basically, the Hope Center out on.
No, I know where it is, but what time did it already take place?
I think they do every Thursday.
Well, the first one did.
Okay, so there might, well, I'll follow up with Mike and see if there's any times, and I'll send that to you all, and anyone who wants to participate can. Is that fair?
I think that's
Right.
the
I mean,
way
Carl makes a good point. There's people that you can train and they're just going to ignore once they start doing stuff. On the other hand, I think it was a very effective program because, again, they had a training class where they emphasized wearing helmets, and they had to pass a riding program through, cones and stuff to be able to prove they could control a bike before they got the bike. They were doing a lot of good stuff. So if it helps even 50 or 60% of the people there, then I think that's a good thing. So I admire what they're doing. And if we can help them, then that's something we should consider.
Yep. And I'll get that out this afternoon, Art, and copy everybody. Sure. Okay, thank you. So the safety seminar at St. Anne's, Chief?
Yep. So this is our second annual. Hopefully it's going to be a continual annual. Let's see. On April 30th, I invited all the first responders and got RSVPs from the Bethany Beach Volunteer Fire Company. The lifeguards, Bethany Beach PD will also be there, and Sussex County EMS. They're very important. They do, they teach CPR in like 3 minutes, like a little crash course, if you will. And they also have very good interactions with J1 students because they see them at their worst. They're pretty much mobile doctors, so they're very good to have out there. I've reached out to the same people from last year, the department heads down at Vicasa Sea Colony. 3 departments RSVP'd, and that's 2 more than last year. So we're getting there. I don't know exactly what I think one is the aquatics, laundry, I'm not sure of the security division. But anyways, they RSVP'd. They said, we will do whatever. We heard a lot of good things about this last year, even though nobody from Sea Colony attended the event except for aquatics. With the help of the code enforcement, we're going to utilize the town trolley again. So this event, we bumped it down to 2 hours. Have the town trolley that's going to help facilitate. I'll have a police officer on there, go to Sea Colony, pick kids up, and actually bring them to the event, and we're going to feed them again as well. I think we're going to do pizza again, because that was a great hit.
It was a big hit.
That was a really, really good hit. BB Hospital will be in attendance, as well as WSFS Bank. Had PNC Bank come from last year, and I learned that majority of the J1 students, through their visa or contract, have direct deposit enrollment through WSFS Bank, so I reached out to them this year. Nothing against PNC Bank, but they just deal with a lot more J1 students, so they're going to be there. That's it for that. I mean, I have the flyers that are being printed right now at the UPS store. I think I made 500 of them, a little bit bigger than last year, so businesses can put them up in the windows. We'll have seasonal officers go door to door to companies on the east side when we get those done up, and then we're going to advertise for that in the newspaper and on our social media as well, and it's coming rather quickly.
Yes.
Okay.
So a couple more weeks.
What, Chief, what more do you need from us to help you with that?
So last year, very similar to last year, we're just going to take it from the fire department and put it in, I think it's the old church. It's right next to
That's in the gym, right?
Delaney Hall.
Delaney Hall, that's it. We're going to have, it's kind of like a horseshoe-shaped building. We're going to have vendors and booths and tables and set up. We'll take care of all that stuff. If you guys want to have your own booth like last year and pass out the
that's
shirts, I think that was a good hit.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we're going to have a table right next to you guys where we can do the education and all that stuff. And then I think most of it is going to be the ABC Mariners Bethel Bike Group, that they're going to be getting people in and out. They're going to be doing their bike loan program there again. They're going to hold their little classroom, so we'll be out mingling with them, but we'll put our tables side by side with you guys for that.
I can do it. Yeah,
So
I can
Art,
sign
I'd like to sign up for that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Great. Anybody else?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
can-
was a great
Diane?
event that
Mark?
I think got a little bit of nice publicity too by a couple of the, do we need to, Julie, can we reach out to anybody on coverage of that, just to give a little positive spin?
Do you do that, or do you want us?
I can reach out to Coastal Point. We'll advertise it on our social media.
It's just really nice
Yeah.
to get
We could
that juice
share
going
with
Yeah,
that way too.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it up.
All right, and so Art can fill up his spreadsheet. Who else is?
So I've got Mickey, Teresa, Diane, and Mark. Anybody
Okay, great.
else? 4, I think, would probably
That's
be
plenty.
sufficient. Okay.
Okay, then, great, super. Thank you, Chief. And again, your leadership on this has really been fantastic.
And
Again,
we
reflect this a couple of years ago when you really very passionate about it and said,
Yeah.
we can't let this thing
Thank
go
you.
by. And you lifted it up, put it on your shoulders, and
Yeah.
with a lot of other things on your plate at the time,
Yeah.
and made it work. So that's awesome.
And the committee can also help out pass the food.
Yeah, we can do
Pizza,
that too.
we can do that
We'll do
too.
whatever.
We don't have to sit behind a booth. We can certainly be out there and engaging and
Yeah,
play
yeah.
cornhole.
Yep. So the next thing is the bike safety seminar at South Coastal Library. I think Officer Rogers is going
Yes.
to lead that?
So I mentioned this for a couple of years now. It finally came to life. I've been there a few times doing some victimization seminars. Rachel, who is new there, she has hit the ground running and trying to get many events involved at the library, so I've been helping her with that. I kind of threw this idea off her. So they want to promote some kind of bicycle safety event at the library, and I kind of said the committee has mentioned doing air-conditioned events at the library as a joke, and then it formed into this. So Corporal Rogers will, it's not going to be a bike checkpoint, it's going to be like a lecture. So it's going to be a little bit different for us, but I think it'll be really, really unique. He'll do like a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation on bicycle safety and bike laws, and the committee can certainly join with that, help present it. He'll bring a police bike with it. We'll talk about what the police department does for enforcement and education. I think it'll be a really good hit. I think it's a library event. I think they have it scheduled from 2 to, I think, 3:30. They really like people to register. I think that's what I put in that email. usually when I do events, no big deal. I have a big following, no big deal. So they only had like 10 or 12 chairs, and then 40 or 50 people came up. So
Yeah.
they like people to register so they can have the room set up for that, so they can accommodate the class. That's the only reason I said to register for the
So
event.
we need to register for that.
The committee doesn't know, but
Okay,
those who
okay.
want to attend
Okay.
the event, the lecture, they should register through the library. It has nothing to do with the police department. We're just invited there by the library. The library likes people who are coming to register for the event so they can have chairs set up.
Is there anything else we can do to help communicate that, Chief, to the population, whether it's a newsletter or a blurb on the town?
Well, Julie said she would share it.
Okay, got it,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For the social media, but if you need just to do, I don't know how
Great.
big you want it to be. If we
Good.
do listserv, then it really gets out there.
Yeah,
too.
so
But it's, you mainly want to do, who are you targeting? Everybody, every visitor?
yeah, I think it's open for discuss, I mean,
So
it's,
then that's probably one
Yeah.
way to go too,
yeah, so I mean,
anybody who opts in.
we're gonna share it via social media. We'll send something to the Coastal Point. For our victimization seminars, I reached out to Julie, and she kinda, is that the listserv? She's kinda advertised it to homeowners, so, I mean, there could be 32 people, or it could be 132 people. We don't know, but we're
Okay.
trying, we're
Yeah,
trying.
we got it covered.
I mean,
Good.
some of it will depend on the weather, right? Like if it's 85 and sunny, people are going to be on the beach.
Or if you have PJ.
It's at, 2 o'clock, you're right.
Yeah.
And thank you for looking over that draft, the text about the event the other day. I'm going to include that in a message
for
going out
your
to all our
community.
homeowners association members this week. So appreciate it.
Good.
So in other words, again, in terms of participation, again, we're looking at the workshop. How many people do you need from the committee, and who would like to volunteer?
I can volunteer. I live across, like, I live right next to it,
Okay.
I'm gonna be out of town that week.
I think. Well, actually, I should check. Hold on.
For this,
I think I'm around.
Mark? Okay.
oh, I can be there.
Oh, who wants to
I'll
Dan?
try and get that.
volunteer at the library?
Oh, yeah.
So I've got Teresa, Mark, and Dan. Anybody else? Carl, you want to
I'll
go?
do it.
Yeah, I can do it too.
Great. If I could, Mickey, just, so I have the people, the 4 people before we were mentioning going to be at the safety seminar at St. Anne's. There's also on our list the J1 student picnic at St. Martha's. Do we want to have people from
I
our
skipped
team
it, sorry.
participate? Or I can take it off the list. It's up to you.
No, I would, that's a great event. I mean, that really is fun. As I recall, a couple years ago, Dan, Carl, and I sort of tag teamed it. We were sort of, had an interesting approach to it, but it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I'll be happy to go. Anybody else?
Can anyone else? I mean,
It's the night before the thing at
Right.
the library.
yes,
Yeah.
that's probably why. I don't think I'm going to be out that time. That's why I'm not there.
Okay, well, I'll just put myself down, and if anybody else wants to join me, that'd be great. If
Yeah.
not, I'll do what I can. So,
I mean, that's, again, we think about having maybe some of the handouts, the T-shirts, that
Yeah.
fits really well with that. So if we could get a couple people just to help with that logistics, but it's great way to chat with people.
okay.
And it's pretty cool, though, with all those young folks and where they're coming from, and it's really cool. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, Art, I just
Could I just
inadvertently
jump
skipped
one
over.
other thought in terms of the J1 situation? Again, like I said, I think we're trying to be as supportive as we can to make sure that we provide as much support and education as we can to the J1 students to help them.
Yep.
I think at one point in time, we had talked about a couple months back, maybe having members of our team go out and talk to people at the businesses in terms of just, again, trying reinforcing safety endeavors. I don't know if that ever took off, or maybe my memory's not as good as it should be.
I remember talking about going to the businesses to encourage the J1 students to come to the seminar.
Okay,
I'm not sure how successful it would be to bother them in their place of business.
okay, I remember that this came up about trying to do something, have the committee somehow support the J1 efforts with the businesses, and I just couldn't remember exactly what was said or done. But if there's nothing further we can do, then so be it. I just want to make sure that was covered.
Sure. But I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, the seasonals do that, right? They hand out the flyers and encourage.
Yeah, so we-
workers to come to these events?
Yeah, we don't go to the place of we don't want to interrupt the flow of business. We kind of catch them in between and do some public relations with them in between and passing. That's our MO. It's worked.
But you know what, I think it builds off something, Art. If any of us, if you know any of the business owners, you're out to eat, right? I mean, it'd be very easy just to sort of drop a comment to whoever the manager is that this event's coming up, particularly to encourage participation, because I think the reason you're doing it at that time is that's a good time before the things really kick in, right? The 12 to
2.
12 to 2, right? And so I think any of us can be very supportive and encouraging of that to, you know, and if they need more information, we can get it to them, and because it's to their benefit, so, right? So, please, Dan.
A thought, back to our discussions long ago about WAVE, one of the elements was to deal with the business community and to try and get them to participate. Maybe as we start to do our long-range planning on the next, is it 3.0 or 4.0 or 10.0, maybe we can incorporate what Art's talking about into a campaign with businesses to see how we can, you know, really sort of skull that out and see how it works.
Okay.
And I think, Dan, I think you're onto something, because
Oh,
we sort of
I
do
think
it.
somebody has a comment.
I know, we need a microphone.
Yeah.
You do.
Ann McKinney. I wanted to say something about the South Coastal Library and the kid, or the program that you're going to have. And I think you said 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I do a lot of things at the library. I go to a lot of events, I should say. And you're right about registering, because lots of times I'm in there and there isn't enough chairs, so I help the girls get the chairs out. Anyway, a lot of parents, I don't know how old this bicycle program would be, but a lot of parents are working, and maybe there should be one later in the afternoon, evening for parents with kids, because kids can be very like, hey mom, you forgot your helmet. My son grew up in the 80s when they were starting to recycle, and he would remind me of, Mom, that can be recycled. So I was just thinking, you know, maybe think about having one later in the day, every once in a while, or once a year.
So this is all put on by the library. They're facilitating all of it and inviting us. We were just there yesterday with kids, and PFC Ryan that was here, she left a long time ago. She sat down and was reading books to them, and then passing out hats and badges and showing the police car and stuff. So I don't like the age group that library, South Coastal Library, has is geared towards reading books and showing them what police officers do, rather than bicycle education or enforcement and learning the laws. But this was all facilitated by the library. It's been an idea of mine that I think I've mentioned for a couple of years, but we just never really we do everything else. The library just kind of said, hey, how about this? And it coincided with our mission on this committee. So they kind of facilitated the time. I agree with you. To be honest with you, the best time to do it is during a bandstand performance, but we can't use our resources for that. We have to put them everywhere else. But we can make that suggestion moving forward. This will be the first time we'll do this event at the library. We could certainly critique it after with their staff and say, how can we do this, and what range of age could we gear? Yeah.
But even little kids go, because they're all starting to learn to ride bikes now. It still can be implanted in their heads.
Right. Thank you, Ann. I mean, it's a great comment, and I think, you know, as the chief talked about, this is sort of the first step, and hopefully it'll evolve and grow, and, you know, there'll be multiple times. So, but the fact that we're having it, and Corporal Rogers is there, that's awesome. So we'll build on that. Thank you. So the July 4th parade, I did mention to John that we were going to have a table there. And he's fine with that?
Okay, good.
Good. Because, you know, there's a lot of other logistics associated with the parade. Ours is sort of simple. We show up and do our thing. don't have to worry about moving trucks and
Yeah.
people and barricades. But we're all set for that, in terms of having our table there to hand out, brochures, talk to people, stickers and the like, so.
So let's see, you and Diane and I were there last year, and again, we didn't have a ton of people, but I think we had some good conversations over the course of the morning.
Mickey relieved us. You came too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep,
that's fine.
so,
And a lot of it was just giving out stickers. The kids were thrilled to put those on their helmets, but again, that, having the stickers created the opportunity for the conversations with the kids and the
Right.
parents, so it was
Right.
a win-win situation.
right,
So,
right.
glad we're doing it again.
Good. Okay,
Does anybody else want to do 4th of July? And right now, I've got Mickey and myself. Anybody else interested?
On what?
is there anyone else who wants to sign up for the
Oh.
pre-parade time?
Yeah, I'll do.
Okay,
Great,
thanks,
yeah.
Diane.
Great. Super. Okay, Chief, again, back to you for the bike safety checkpoints, number 1 and 2. I think I have those dates right, the 24th and 7th?
Yep.
Okay.
Thursdays, yep, nothing's changed. Those are one of our biggest attended events. We're expected to be there on those dates. The unfortunate, I think last year, the July date got canceled because of a storm. But that was the first time in 13 years we've been canceled. So we'll be out there those dates. We'll be doing the same thing. Seasonals help actually install the bikes, and then the one officer, the full-time officer that's there with the committee, can talk to the parents and engage
Yep.
whatever conversation we need to. So,
And those dates are on the 2-page schedule that goes out to everybody.
Yep.
So there's present.
I remember Julie shared something, I think it was like a year or so ago, about the popularity of that and the number of the feedback you got from some on social media about those events was
Yeah,
like
and
record-setting or
yeah.
something?
yeah,
so we kind of, the police department, we've asked the past few years, how did you hear about us? Well, you're here, you're supposed to be here, we expect you to be here was one, and then, oh, we saw it on your Facebook or Instagram page last night. So social media, it's a huge tool that we, and I also want to mention, every seasonal officer that has helped has been hired here full-time.
Great.
Crazy. It's crazy that happens, huh?
You let them know that, right?
Well, I say no pressure, but, you have a full-time job riding on this air.
Well, Ben will be there as a full-time person this time.
If he's working, yeah.
And the last thing we have for the summer is the Arts Festival, which would be on the 6th.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing as the craft festival. I don't think that's our crowd. My opinion.
I agree.
No, but we can put the ad in their program book. So at least there's a presence that way, because they hand those out to all their vendors and the visitors. So,
I think the Arts Festival is good because the season's sort of over. The people that come are from Millville, Ocean View, Frankfurt, Dagsboro. They're more the local people. The people that come to the concerts, and they come to the Arts Festival. So, I mean, kids are back in school, sports are going, you're getting, I think, more locals.
Yeah.
Well, regional locals.
It felt like, and I'm not sure I was at, I know I was at one, it just felt like the Arts Festival, the one in September, was a little bit more manageable in terms of having the conversations and discussions. The craft fair was just like this overwhelming people showing up and, wanted this, wanted that, and it was, why don't we leave it on for now, and as we get closer, we can decide how we want to handle it. Okay, is that?
Sure.
But Julie, from a table or perspective, do we have time to?
that's the chamber event. We don't manage that one,
But you can help us with.
placing the ad.
Yeah.
And I could find out if
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if they closed or not, their
For
acceptance
one
for
in
their
September?
booths. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Same with ours. Our applications go November to February and cut off.
Okay. Well, that might solve that problem.
Yeah, the only reason we get a table is because Julie, we have an inside connection. That's how we get a table at the craft fair.
And we still have an inside connection. That's-
Is that also the election day?
It is election day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And lastly is the idea generation workshop. Again, that's we can deal with that when we get to it. The only other thing that's not up there, it's not something we have to do specifically, but I do, we have the, Del Dot's having their discussion about sort of the North Bethany.
Oh, right.
That's on June 3rd. Right, it's a public
It's
workshop.
a public workshop, and we don't have to do anything other than
No, we don't have to do anything
participate.
except, if you're interested, show up.
Yeah.
What's the date?
June
It's
3rd.
Tuesday, I think it's June 3rd.
Yeah, for like 5 to 7.
Right, there's
Well,
a,
it's at 5.
There's a
and
5
then
and
they
a
repeat it
6.
at 6,
Right.
so it's 1 hour, basically.
Right. So I sent the announcement out. I can
Yep.
send it again if you'd like. But last time when I attended, it was, overflow crowd.
It was
And that
a
was
big
just
crowd.
the first session, and there was other people waiting to get in. So I'm guessing both sessions were very well attended.
Yeah,
So I can send it out, the stuff again if you want to see it.
good. But I'm just, as a reminder that it is going to happen, and probably worthwhile that some of us try to be there for that.
It
It'd
was
be interesting.
educational.
Yeah, it'd really be interesting what the next steps are with the project, and I'm not even sure if they've turned the light on. You know, that flashing rapid, I don't know if
They
that's
haven't
actually,
turned it
By
on
Fresh
yet.
it's not on yet, right?
not on yet.
I was coming back the other day, and somebody had crossed right there, and I just asked the couple, because they didn't use the light. I'm like, did the light work for you? And she said, well, we pushed it, it didn't come on. So maybe that's going to be activated at some point. That's really important, because that's going to cause some real challenges for folks if they're not used to it.
It's the
right?
biggest problem we have here on Route 1.
Same one,
Yeah.
except now you've
It's
got another
faster.
10 to 15
Yeah.
mile an hour speed.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm very interested in when, for this workshop they have, to hear about that. So, okay. Anything else from our planning for Art? Did we get everything we needed for?
I think so. I mean, again, I'll send this out. It's going to be in an Excel file, so it can be obviously
Yep.
edited in any way we need to.
Yep.
Does anybody else want to sign up for the bike safety checkpoint besides Vicky and me for either the July or the August dates? With July or
Yeah, I
both?
can do both.
Okay. Mark, do you want to do one or both?
I'll do both.
Carl, do you want to do one or both?
Yeah, I'll do the July one for sure.
Okay.
I've got it here. I'll give you a copy of it. I mean, I'll just give it to you.
Yeah. And if, like I think, we all have lives, so if things come up, that's okay. If we get multiple people involved, we
Right,
can
if
help
we sign
out,
up
so.
4 and we get 3 or we get 2, most times we'll be able to
Yeah.
cover it.
Yep.
And if we get more, then that's even better.
So let me open it up to any comments from Ann. I know you commented, Bill, Rosemary, anything from the? Please. Okay, I think how about from the team? Anything we didn't cover that you wanted to, or?
I only have one thing.
Please.
I have boxes of T-shirts in my car out front, so if somebody could help me bring them in, that would be helpful after this meeting.
I got it.
Okay.
I'm with you. Yep. Okay, great. Again, everybody, thank you for all your efforts. This is,
One comment,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and thanks to everybody for all the good work that's done. Everybody participates so well, but I think for our chairs, a special thank you to you both. You've got a lot of work that you do for the town and for all of us. And Mickey, often when you say, oops, I missed something, you correct the problem and you're right back on top of it. So just as someone who admires the work that you do, I just want to say thank you for everything you do for us, because it's really amazing how much you get done.
Thank you.
Both of you. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Ann?
Second.
All right, second?
All in favor?
All in favor? Great. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Memorial Day. And first step first, get the T-shirts in.
I know, we all,
I give Art
Second step, we'll meet at 11.
tomorrow.